Hello.
Hello.
Hello. Welcome to
Monday with the Mavens. And today we are wearing pink. So if you
We
are
didn't
wearing
know.
pink, then you got the memo. We didn't plan ahead. It just happened this way, which happens actually a lot with us.
I know. I kind of love it.
I do too.
Oh, you guys, it's been just a hot minute since we've been on here for a live, and we are super excited. Oh, we got a heart. Maybe for our
Aw.
pink. I don't know. But we
Maybe because we're on here for the first time in a few weeks.
I know. Well, I mean, we're on stories and we post, but like an actual live, summer has been a little extra wild. Hello, Heather. I'm so glad that you're on here. So anyways, we have all sorts of questions that have been coming in, and we're just going to tackle them. That said, if you're on here and you have questions you want to ask as we go, we will absolutely pay attention. You can put comments down below and ask us anything. We may or may not have an answer for you.
Yeah.
But we'll be real and we'll dig, and that's one of the things that we love to do. So we're outside. It's a little warm, but it's too nice not to be out here. And we're just going to jump right in.
Let's
So,
do it.
let's do it.
All right. Should I go first?
Sure.
Okay.
Like, you'll read it first?
Yeah, how do we want to do it?
Yeah. Okay, you read it. I'll answer,
You
then we'll
answer?
flip-flop.
Okay, yeah, I like it.
Okay. Wait for it.
Wait for it. Good, lean protein options.
Oh,
That's an
okay.
easy one.
Good. Yeah, it is an easy one. First of all, and we're going to make this kind of quick. We say that, but we actually are. Protein is queen in my book. It is so important, and the large majority of at least Americans underutilize protein. Not everybody needs the same amount. It really depends on your goals, but protein helps with muscle preservation, muscle building, cognition. When you have more muscle, you burn more calories at rest. It takes more energy expenditure to break it down in your body. There are so many reasons why protein is essential. Also, not everybody needs all lean proteins, but if you're looking for lean proteins, depending on what your macro breakdown is, some really wonderful ones are going to be things like fish. A lot of different varieties of fish are primarily just protein without a lot of fat. Salmon, of course, has more fat, but it's delicious. Things like turkey, different cuts of chicken, and then a lot of different variations within that. There's, of course, a lot of plant-based proteins too, but I would say when you're looking at lean protein, you can get a leaner ground beef also. Some pork is going to be really lean, but the ones that are pretty typical are going to be chicken, turkey, and fish.
Yeah.
So-
Whitefish, especially.
Yeah.
Scallops, shrimp,
Cod,
halibut, tilapia.
just for the halibut.
I feel like that should be a song.
Just for the halibut. Just for the halibut.
And there it is, guys. We're back.
Sorry.
No, we're not.
Okay. Do I need to track strictly while on a macro plan?
That is such a good question. I love this question, actually. And the short end of the answer is if you're paying somebody to be your coach, whether it's us or somebody else, and you want to get the most bang for your buck, then yeah, you need to track strictly. And that means every bite of food that goes into your mouth. If you are grabbing a spoonful of mac and cheese off of your kid's
Just
plate,
a spoonful
of
of
mac
mac
and cheese.
makes the fat pile up.
Oh, wow.
No, it doesn't actually. I'm sorry. We're not about deprivation.
No.
I shouldn't have said that.
But yeah, if you are on a macro plan, if you have goals, and you are paying somebody to tell you, and you are wanting to get to a certain, spot in your nutrition, and your coach says, hey, you need to eat this many grams of protein, carbs, and fat, then the best way and the fastest way to get to your goals is to follow their advice. And so if that means weighing your food and making sure that you are eating, 6 ounces of lean protein at each meal, that's what that means.
Yeah.
Does it mean you are going to have to do that for eternity? No, that is not what we want. And so our goal is to get our clients to maintenance to where they don't have to track so strictly. But while you're on a plan, while you have a coach, you might as well take advantage of what you're paying for, right? And so I'll give you an example. A former client of mine had big goals, big lofty goals. And she came to the program and she was like, yeah, I don't know if this is going to work for me, but I'm going to give it my all. And I was like, okay, let's do it. And so and I'm not even kidding you guys, she hit her numbers every single day. Maybe there was one, maybe 2 tops, 2 days when she didn't hit her numbers, but she told me about it ahead of time. Like, I'm going out of town, I'm going camping or whatever it was. And she didn't hit her numbers, but out of like an entire year she was in the program, she never missed a day. And she annihilated her goals, you guys. She crushed it. She lost a ton of weight. She is she's feeling better than she's ever felt before. And really the thing about it too, and I tell this to my clients all the time, and Emmy can concur, your goal has to be stronger than the obstacles that get in your way. Yeah. There will always be obstacles. There will always be ways to cheat or to fudge it, and
everybody's life is busy and crazy.
Like we know it. And jobs are crazy, and people have jobs where it's really hard to stick to a macro plan, but they do it. It's just your goal has to be the number one thing. And if it's not, and if you're going to let the obstacles get in your way, then you might rethink your plan. You might rethink whether or not it's a good time for you. Yeah. But if you have goals and you want to reach them and you're willing to put in the work, then you need to track strictly for the time that you are in the plan. And then hopefully, depending on who you're coaching with or who is your coach, they'll get you to a point where you are at maintenance and you can have a little bit more food freedom. And that's really where it's at.
And you can have food freedom even within the program, in that you can fit in the things that you really like. And the reason for specificity for a season, especially with what we do with our clients, is that we are really working to elicit change to your base metabolic rate. And the way that we can do that is with the consistency of calories and your macro breakdown that we can shift week over week so that your body understands what's coming and going. And that allows us to really make that shift. Without consistency, we can't do that. We're not going to have as aggressive of results. But the beauty is once we get you there, if we've taken you through a reverse, a cut, a reverse back up, looks a little bit different for everybody. Not everybody follows that process. As far as our clients go, then it allows us to then get you to a higher calorie count, and it allows us to have a more flexible metabolism within that calorie count so that you can maintain your leaner body composition, and then you have so much more freedom.
Yeah.
So much more freedom. And I think a lot of people are like, oh, the 80-20 rule. Like you hear it, and honestly, there's a time and a place for the 80-20 rule in life for sure. But it's crap sometimes too, you guys. People just want you to feel good. It can be an excuse. And the thing is that if you have things you love that you want to fit in, I eat chocolate and bacon almost every single day, but I can fit them in. And I didn't used to be able to because I didn't understand what my body needed or the portions it needed or how that I would make that work with other things. But it doesn't have to be about deprivation. It has to be about understanding what you need, getting able to shift your composition to a place where you feel really good in your own skin. You have good energy, you have good sleep, you have all the things. And if you tell yourself the 80-20 rule or whatever it may be within that season, you're giving yourself a reason to be like, oh, I can have a little bit of this, or oh, I can have a little bit of this. Same thing with intuitive eating. There's a time and a place for that in life for sure. But when you are in a season of specificity and you are working with a coach and we are working to get you towards your goals, put in the work, and you will be so thankful you did.
Amen.
We have a question here.
Easy protein recommendations from Costco, Trader Joe's, etc. That's not a bar. That's a great question. Man, and Costco and Trader Joe's are two great places where you can get, and look at that. Julie Flanner hopped on and said rotisserie chicken, jerky, chicken bites, egg bites. Those are great options. Yep. Trader Joe's also has chicken sausage that has really great macros.
Yeah.
I do
look for the cardboard wrapper.
Yeah, and I do the rotisserie chicken. Sorry, that's my kid, actually.
Take it off in the buggy.
I do the rotisserie chicken from Costco. You can also do, they have chicken kebabs on sticks. Like a kebab. Everybody knows that, right? They're chicken on a stick. Hey, that's a great option. Also, if you can handle or tolerate Greek yogurt and a little bit of dairy, some Greek yogurt, plain Greek yogurt with berries is a great option for protein. My kids like the Baby Bell cheeses, the Laughing Cow cheeses, the triangle ones or the round ones. Those are good options if you can tolerate dairy. And we always tell our clients too, we want the majority of your protein, if not all of your protein, to come from whole food sources and not bars and shakes. Yep. And the reason for that is we don't know exactly how much our body absorbs when we are getting our protein from a shake or a bar. And the reason, I said the reason twice. The reason we don't know is because if you are getting your protein from a liquid, liquids stay in our bodies much less time. So a liquid will pass through our body within an hour and a half tops. And that's just not enough time in our digestive tract for our body to fully absorb all of the protein. So you may have a Fairlife shake that has 20 or 30 grams of protein in it. It's in your digestive tract for an hour and a half. You may only be absorbing 10, maybe 15 grams of that protein. And so you just don't know. So if you are going to have a shake, if you do rely on shakes, make sure that you couple your shake with some whole food sources. especially like if you could find something that has some fiber and some things to kind of slow down digestion so that when it is going through your gut, it's going through slower so that your body has more of an opportunity to absorb it. So
the additives in bars and shakes oftentimes are what are creating a lot of bloat also.
Oh yeah,
especially
so much bloat.
If it's whey-based protein.
Yeah.
The other thing is on our website, macromavens.life, on the toolbox, we have a lot of free resources. We also have a lot of other resources for our clients, but one of them on there is a shopping list, and it has a section for Costco and for Trader Joe's, and it includes some of our favorite proteins.
Yeah.
And but we also have our groups and can always give suggestions.
Yeah, the pork tenderloin at Costco is really, really good.
So quick to put in an instant pot for carnitas.
Same with like either they're frozen or they're fresh shrimp. You know, I have not been a big shrimp cooker in my life, and I've recently started cooking shrimp more often. And
she's a shrimp cooker,
I'm a
folks.
shrimp cooker, and it cooks so fast, and it's so good.
Here we
go. It cooks up so fast, and you can make it so delicious. And they're just like these little protein nuggets,
like a minute,
like literally, like 1 minute on each side.
Like it's lit, guys.
It's going downhill fast. We've only answered like 2 questions.
Okay, you ask me when.
What can summer look like on a macro plan?
Can look like any time.
Can look like bright pink.
So I guess maybe I'm thinking that the question here is like, how can you enjoy summer while being on a macro plan?
Oh, summer is the best.
It honestly is, you guys. I actually think it's one of the easiest times. One, there's heat and you need to stay super hydrated, which you need to do all year. But for whatever reason, people are more motivated to stay hydrated in the summer oftentimes, which really helps with digestion. It helps with satiety. It helps with all of those things. It's really easy to get local good foods in the summer. Barbecued meats are a great source of protein. Throw a little bit of, whole veggies or fruits in there with that, and some form of a healthy fat. And it's so simple. I think it's really simple to stick with whole foods in the summer. Not that you have to do that as a client to hit your macros, but there's a lot of more resources, I think, in summer months. If you're going to something like a barbecue, you can ask what they're going to have. You can bring what you like. You can pre-track it. You can work around it. If you're going to the lake or the river or camping, just bring easy foods that help you hit your numbers that you still enjoy. There's no reason that you have to go off track. It just might take a little bit of extra planning or a couple of questions, but having what you need on hand is going to help you feel your best, and then you're going to enjoy it more anyways.
Yeah, it's easy.
Yeah. Easy peasy lemon squeezy. Okay. Can I be on a macro plan while using Ozempic?
Oh, that's a hot topic, isn't it? It's a really hot topic. Like a hot topic. So real quick, for those of you who don't know, Ozempic is kind of the latest. It's actually a diabetic drug. It's a drug that they give to people who have diabetes. And it has become probably the fastest growing weight loss drug on the market today.
For non-diabetics also.
For non-diabetics,
a lot of people are utilizing it for a quick fix.
Yeah, and that's what it does. It gives you a quick fix. So let's talk about what that looks like. The side effects, real quick, to Ozempic are pretty horrific. It is...
I just want to say, we're not shaming anybody.
No.
Like, if you choose to use Ozempic, that is completely your prerogative. Just do your homework and know there are things you can do. We're here to help. We have clients on Ozempic. We don't think it is the healthiest route, but it is a route we will support. And
they've come to us on Ozempic. It's not like we have never suggested anybody get on it. But if you are somebody who does use Ozempic for weight loss and you're like, man, maybe I should, consider a macro plan also. Like, we do take clients who are currently on it.
And there's things that you can do to mitigate the side effects to help you preserve muscle. So I didn't mean to interrupt.
No, that's right. I know you have strong feelings about this too. So you can talk in just a minute about it. So anyway, So Ozempic is kind of the latest and greatest fat loss drug on the market.
Latest, not greatest.
Right. Well, it's the latest. Anyway, I want to be really careful because I don't want anybody to feel like there is zero judgment from us. We absolutely 100% understand that people get desperate and you want change. And we get it. Yeah. We totally understand, and we sympathize and empathize with you about that. But we also want you to know what you're walking into. So if you're curious about like what Ozempic is and how it works, I don't know the ins and the outs of it. I do know that it causes a lot of side effects, including like diarrhea and nausea. It's really like food is like it's forcing food out of your body like in a relatively quick way, right? And so when you're
also
nauseous,
breaking your muscle down.
yeah, when you're nauseous and you have diarrhea, you don't really want to eat, right? I don't want to eat when I feel that way. And so you immediately end up in a calorie deficit, which then causes your metabolism to downregulate, you guys. And that's what we're trying to mitigate on our end. Like, we don't want our clients to have downregulated metabolism. In fact, we want the opposite for them. Yeah. And so if you are somebody who is on Ozempic and you're like, can I have a macro plan? Sorry, my son is returning. Oh my goodness, with a whole bunch of kids. Anyway, we can use Ozempic. Like, if you are on it and you're one of our clients, we can use that and teach you how to preserve your muscle, because Ozempic is a muscle wasting medication. Yeah. It causes your muscles to waste away.
And can we talk about that for a minute?
Yeah, let's do it. Go ahead.
Yeah. So here's muscle. We said this earlier, but muscle is so important, you guys. It's important for your cognition. It's important for your bone health. It's important for your longevity. The problem with something like Ozempic is that you are going to experience likely fairly rapid weight loss, but it's not just fat loss. It'd be one thing if it was just fat loss. It's fat, muscle, tissue, like
water.
It's affecting your vital organs. And so once again, like, to each their own. But then what happens is not only are you in a calorie deficit, so then over time you have metabolic adaptation, meaning that your body requires less to maintain, but you also have less muscle, and muscle helps you burn more calories at rest. It helps with all the things that we just talked about. And then you go off this drug, you're eating less, you have less muscle, your metabolism is not burning as much calories at rest. And you're going to yo-yo and you're not going to feel good. And so even if you choose to use it, allowing us to work with you on having an adequate and a healthy amount of protein and mitigating some of the nausea effects. Now, most, if not all, of our clients that came to us start like on Ozempic have now gone off of it and are just following a macronutrient plan because they started feeling so much better and seeing results outside of it. But I just want to say, like, it is something we can do in tandem with no judgment and no shame. But the muscle wasting component, in my opinion, is one of the most dangerous effects. And there is that thing, they call it Ozempic butt, Ozempic face. Like, you can see it. You can see the muscle tissue.
You lose, it's just like skin hanging off of bones. You lose the plumpness.
Yeah. And now here comes this tractor.
This is what we get for being outside.
Yeah.
But it's really
on a farm.
Nice outside. Yeah.
Yeah, it is. So
okay, let's move on.
Let us know if you have specific questions, and we're happy to answer them. If you're utilizing the medication, if you're considering the medication, it has a lot of different names. We are here without judgment, even though I know it sounds like we're coming from a, like we really are. Like, we've both tried different things in the past, that it's like, and there, in my opinion, like, doing the marathon, not the sprint, is the only way for true sustainability. And like, you can get there.
Yeah.
So
we're here to help. Macromavens.life.
Oh, yeah, it's your turn.
Oh, it's my turn, right?
I just hijacked. Sorry.
Oh, no. Weird. She's got more to say than I do. How do you stay on plan and still go out to eat, parties, etc.?
Oh, okay. We kind of already answered this, but it's just a little bit of forethought. So out to eat, for instance, if you know where you're wanting to go out to eat and they have an online menu, hop on and check it out, and then just pre-track that and work the rest of your day around it. If you know you're going to want to have a drink, do the same thing. If you know, like, you're going to a party and there's going to be a particular type of dessert, or even just a generality. That's a really hard word. Generality.
Okay, hang on.
My son wants to know, can we DoorDash
Dairy Queen and pay for it, or someone else?
No.
And
Sorry.
just like that, you just say no. Sorry.
Okay, so anyways.
Even our kids want Dairy Queen, guys.
Okay,
so they're making sad faces behind us.
We have got to finish this live, you guys, and then we'll be in.
We'll talk to you guys when we're done.
Okay, so eating out, it really is going to be, like, if you can do any form of pre-planning and look ahead, that's going to be your best bet. If not, and you have a general idea of what they have, just pre-track that. You can always modify it a little bit. If none of that is an option, when you go, just know, like, we want you to enjoy what you're going to have. I mean, in my opinion, eating out, you just want to stay away from things that have a ton of added ingredients, like a lot of different sauces and a lot of different things. I often stick with just some type of a really great fish, a really great steak, some form of like a good curry, something with good veggies. I'll substitute, not that there's anything wrong with a lot of the starches that are at places, but they mix it in a lot. So I'll oftentimes substitute like the rice or the potatoes or whatever come for extra veggies, but then I'll get dessert just because I would rather have my carbs in that form when I'm going out. And so it just really depends. I think that said barbecues or like outings as well. Parties. Same thing. And then if it's something where you can contribute, bring something that you know is going to help you hit your numbers. Eat a little something in advance. We all oftentimes think people are watching us, and people don't actually usually care, you guys. Like,
don't care.
You can say no thank you. Like, people don't need to know what you're doing, or they can know what you're doing. If they offer you a drink, like, no thanks. Like, who cares? If they, like, if you're eating something different, like, who cares? People don't usually actually care. And if they do, you can explain, I'm making some changes to help myself feel better. Mm-hmm. Most people cannot argue with that. Like, they are gonna, if they care about you, they're gonna want you to feel better. And you can share specifics or not, but it's just one thing I've worked with clients so much because they're like, well, I don't want people to think. And I was like, people probably actually don't care.
They don't think. They don't think about us. They don't think about anybody but themselves. Yeah. That's just human nature. Also, the other thing is preload. If you're going to go to a party or something, preload your day with protein. Most of the time, even if you're going to go out to a restaurant, if you can start your day with a protein-packed breakfast and lunch, if you can really look ahead and be like, get the majority of your protein out of the way before you go out, that way, even if you do go to a restaurant, oftentimes you're not going to get 50 grams of protein from a restaurant dinner unless you ask for double protein or something like that. If you don't want to do that, then you need to plan ahead and make sure you get enough protein in earlier in the day. I almost always preload my days with as much protein as I can before I go out, knowing that I'm just going to order a chicken salad or whatever it is that is probably not going to have as much protein as I would normally eat.
Most people, when they start their meals prioritizing protein, they actually start craving that. It's really interesting how that works over time.
It's true.
Yeah. Okay, we're going to speed this up a little bit. Thoughts on fasting while on a macro plan?
Oh, you know what? Intermittent fasting while on a macro plan can be a game changer for people, especially when we get to the point of the plan where you're in a cut. So I actually advise all of my clients, I suggest to all of my clients when they are in a calorie deficit to try utilizing an intermittent fasting protocol if they're interested in that, and it can look different for each person. And you don't have to either. If you are an intermittently faster, if you like to intermittently fast and you want to be on a macro plan, then you absolutely can. When you do get higher in your reverse and you end up having more calories than you're used to, it might be a little bit more difficult to continue with that, and that's okay. You can go to a regular eating window if that suits you, or talk to your coach. Just kind of depends. But yeah, I think that intermittent fasting can be really helpful, especially when you are at the bottom of your cut, or you are wanting to maximize your ability to stay at a certain calorie count for a particular amount of time. I love that. And it doesn't have to be super strict. You can be like, if you're in the bottom of a cut, you can be like, I'm just going to try not to eat my first meal until 10 o'clock in the morning, because that helps me stay satiated throughout the day, and I'm not really hungry in the morning anyway. So absolutely.
I would say, especially if you're one of our clients and you're considering some form of fasting protocol, make sure you talk with your coach about it, because it is a little bit different for women and men too. And depending on what you have at play hormonally, especially if we're aware, you do want to be careful with longer fasts for females particularly, because it does have an impact on your hormones and your thyroid.
Yep. Yeah. Okay. Let's see. How much protein is enough?
Lots of protein questions today. It differs.
Well, it is the queen.
It is the queen. It really does differ for everyone. If you are an active person and you are looking to preserve or build muscle, we will likely work you up to, not start you at, especially if you're eating a lot less than this, we will likely work you up to somewhere between 0.75 to 1, or maybe a little bit more grams per pound of ideal body weight. not everybody can hit that protein threshold. It really depends on your lifestyle, on what you actually enjoy. There's a number of things that are at play in that. But I would use that as a general rule of thumb, and it also looks a little bit different for men and for women. Also, establishing an ideal weight is a whole nother like ball game, because there's a lot of factors for that. But it's really making sure you're prioritizing protein at each meal. I see people say like everybody should eat X amount of grams of protein per meal. That does not work, you guys. We are all different. We are all like created very differently with different needs and different hormonal makeups and different like all of the things. And so it depends on where you're starting, because if we increase your protein too quickly, you are likely going to have gut disturbance. It's not going to be a healthy thing. We're going to want to slowly increase your protein over time. And then we're not going to want to take it above a certain level. So once we hit that threshold, if we're still climbing calories, we're going to be giving you more fats and carbs.
Sorry. So, no. Gotta wrap this up. I'm getting a little sleepy.
I'm boring over here. Okay, we are going to go quacker. We're going to go quacker.
I think we already did.
What does maintenance look like?
Oh, you guys, maintenance is maintenance is the glory land.
It's a beautiful thing.
We love maintenance. That's the goal.
I've been in maintenance for a long time. And I love it.
This is my question.
Sorry.
Maintenance really is what we want for all of our clients. So our clients come to us with certain goals, and we get them to our goals, and then we are like, okay, let's get you to maintenance. What does that look like? Maintenance is a range, you guys. We want people to understand that when we give you a maintenance assignment, it does not mean that you need to, let's say your maintenance range is 300-400 calories. Maybe it's 1,600 to 1,800, 1,900. It depends on each person. Every person is different. Everybody's maintenance looks different. But we give an assignment. We say, this is what your maintenance should look like. It should look like this amount of protein, carbs, and fat within a couple 100 to 300 calorie range, because every day is different, right? So one thing that I know for myself, I'm currently living in maintenance. If I have a very active day ahead of me, if I know I'm going to the gym, I'm going to be doing all kinds of activity, then I adjust my macros accordingly. I make sure, number one, that I hit my protein every day without question, most of the time. And then in regards to that, then carbs and fats can be a little bit more flexible. We have a little bit more flexibility depending on like what you're doing. Like if you are super active during the day, you might want more carbs to help keep you energized. If you're being less active, you might want to reduce your amount of carbs because you don't need that energy. It looks different for every person. But what I will say about it is maintenance is the glory land, because you don't have to, by the time you get to maintenance, our goal is that you would be able to look at a plate of food and be like, I need to add more protein to this in order to hit my goal. Or this is too many carbs. I think I'm going to replace it with a little bit of fat and some more protein. The goal is that you understand, you come out educated about what your plate should look like at every meal. So then you can you can go do whatever you want. You know what your plate should look like in order to be successful and to maintain the results that you've already had. It is sustainability, you guys. Maintenance is sustainable. Yeah. And honestly, we should all be living at maintenance the majority of time. And then we should be on a macro plan the minority of time, right? Yeah. Yeah. That's really what it's about. And there's no big deal. It's no big deal if you're in maintenance for 2 years and then you're like, I actually want to start, I'm going to go to Hawaii, or I feel like I want to shift my body composition. I want to put on more muscle or something like that. Then we can absolutely do that. It's not like you are in maintenance for, 6 months and then we start your plan again. You can be in maintenance for eternity as far as we're concerned.
Yeah. And my maintenance looks a little bit different, and I'll just talk specifics because we don't actually talk specifics a lot. Yeah. Just because what we do might look very different than what you need to do. Yeah. This round of maintenance has been about 9+ months for me. I haven't tracked anything. I don't track my food. However, I am really aware of what my plate needs to look like. Roughly how much protein, how much fat, how much carbs, and I can just adjust throughout the day. And for that 9-month period, I've been able to maintain, I'm only 5'3", so I'm pretty short. And I do have a fair amount of muscle, but I maintain somewhere between 113 and 116 pounds. And my protein is at roughly 1 gram per pound of body weight, somewhere in there if I were to track. But I can ebb and flow. I vacation a ton. I backpack a ton. I'm super active. My calorie count's probably higher than most people my size. but I'm pretty active. And what's really interesting is I've actually been able to put on a little bit more muscle in maintenance, which wasn't necessarily my plan, but I think I just relaxed a little bit, which is really interesting. And so I've made a little bit more progress in this maintenance season and that's not why I went into it. I just really, for me, wanted a relaxed season, but it's not been hard to maintain, and I'm really thankful for that. Now, will I jump back in a season of specificity in the future for any one reason? I probably will. I keep telling myself I'm going to, but then I'm like, well, why right now? And so I think you just have to ask yourself that question. But it goes to show that once you really start to understand what your body needs, and you have a lot of foods that are just help you hit your goals that you repeat, and I also like spontaneity, and so it just works. Now, could I be like leaner and but probably, but I feel comfortable and I feel healthy, and that for me in this season right now is what's important. Heather asked, how long does it typically take to get someone to maintenance? It really depends. It depends on a couple of things. It depends on how far you are from your goals when you first start, and it depends on your consistency. It also depends on what other things might you have at play, like hormonally, and from a habit forming standpoint. And so I would say for most people, it's somewhere between 6 to 12 months. But once again, it really depends. If somebody starts and they're pretty close to their goal, I've had people that we only need to do a reverse and that are at their goal, and we get them into maintenance. Most people, we need to go through a reverse, a cut, back up to a reverse. Sometimes we repeat that process. Some people come and they have, 100 plus pounds that would be healthy for them to potentially shed while preserving muscle, where others have 5 to 15. And so it's not all about the pounds, but that's just a way that we can equate it. So it really depends on those factors.
It also depends on how consistent you are too. The clients who come to us who are really consistently hitting their numbers and who are listening and being good students and doing the things that we tell them, they tend to be more successful out of the gate, and they tend to go through the program faster. So
and I want to piggyback, I talked about my maintenance, just so you know, my whole life up until macros, I could not get, you guys, I worked hard. I worked in the gym really hard, and I ate clean, and I couldn't get there. It was so frustrating. I spun my wheels a lot. So to be at a place now where, once again, I will never arrive. I am my own worst critic. I have a lot of things that I'm working on. I'm working on being comfortable in my own, but just so you know, I'm hard on myself too. Yes. She's yes, she is.
She is. We all are.
But I will say, once you get there and you have the tools and you just know what you need to fill your plate with and you're feeling good, it really does provide a sense of freedom. And it's the only thing that's ever stuck. And I'm so thankful. And that's why we're so passionate about it, because we want everybody to feel that way.
Yes, yes, yes.
Okay.
2 left, guys.
Does fizzy water count towards my water goal? I wish it did all day, every day.
Well, okay, so this is a little bit of a controversial subject because I feel like if you're drinking fizzy water, now nobody should be drinking just fizzy water. Let's be clear about that.
Yeah.
Everybody should be drinking the majority of their water, just regular water. I like mine ice cold.
Yeah.
Ice cold.
I do too.
But if you do have a fizzy water in the day, does it count towards your goal? Yeah. For me, if I was your coach, I'd be yeah, it does. I don't feel like you need to make up for the fizzy water that you're drinking. Now, if you're only drinking fizzy water, then that's a different...
It's a lot of carbonation.
It's a lot of carbonation. And, I haven't done the research. I don't know what all that carbonation does to your body, but, are you gassy? Does it make you gassy?
There are some...
Do you know what carbonation is?
Yeah, well, and it's not just the carbonation. Sometimes the fizzy water that you're drinking, too, will have additives and some other things. It also is not the best thing for your teeth. There's a lot of... Believe me, I love my bubbly.
She would drink it,
all day.
Yeah, from, the time she wakes up till the time she goes to bed.
Because I do, in the afternoons, I probably drink, 6. Confessions.
I allow myself to have one a day. Today was a tall boy.
It was a tall boy. I drink a lot of sparkling water. I love it, but I don't allow myself to start until 1 o'clock or later. I do just drink my regular. I try to have 2 of these in the morning, one with an electrolyte and one just plain.
So all that's to say is it kind of depends on your coach. One of our coaches, I won't name her, says nope, fizzy water does not count towards your water goal. So if she's your coach, I'm sorry. If you're my client, then yeah, you can count it.
Let's
towards
just
your
say it
water
counts in the afternoon, as long as you drink enough in the morning.
goal. Okay, last question. Oh, we kind of already talked about it.
Yay! Okay, guys.
Yay, we're done.
Well, because I'm hungry.
Yeah, we're gonna go eat some lunch. So
Yeah.
you guys feel free to reach out, drop questions in the question box, in the comment box. We're glad you guys were here to join us, and hopefully we will be here again next week. Don't be surprised if we're not, and we will be more consistent in the fall.
We will. But you can reach out anytime, like Haley said. Also, now is a fantastic time to start, you guys.
Oh,
it's a fantastic time. We always offer a free consult. You can go to macromavens.life. You can click the hop on board button. It doesn't commit you to anything, but it does let a coach reach out, connect, see if we're a good fit. And we would love to chat, and we would love to help you, and we can get you there. And having a coach in your corner can make all the difference.
So macromavens.life.
Yes.
Go there.
Do it.
Check us out.
We dare ya.
Yeah. Double dog dare ya.
Bye-bye.
Bye, guys.